Hi, my name is Kirsten, and this is a bonus recipe video on demand for my Summertime Wellness Bowls class. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make quick pickled carrots and quick pickled grapes. And I'll probably start talking about how other things that you can pickle. But I want to get started first with the other two, the main two recipes. And when you're doing pickling, you pretty much need a brine. Your brine is going to consist of salt, sugar, and some kind of vinegar. Maybe some additional spices like dill or garlic or mustard seeds or red pepper flakes or some fresh herbs like thyme or chili threads or something else for a little more zing. But essentially, your basic brine, some salt, some sugar, some kind of acid in the form of vinegar. That's a brine. And you got to heat that up so that the salt and the sugar can dissolve. So for the first one, we're going to do pickled grapes, and you'll see the recipe in your handout as well as on the comments. You're going to need 1/3 of a cup of white wine vinegar. What do you do if you don't have white wine vinegar? Use white vinegar. Use apple cider vinegar. You know, the pickle police are not going to get mad at you. They're looking for the acidity of the product, not how particular you are about it. It's all about acidity. And you're going to have a little bit of different flavor using white wine versus white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. And that is going to be okay. Could you use red wine vinegar with grapes? Well, I don't know why not. But the recipe I'm using from America's Test Kitchen Bowls cookbook calls for white wine vinegar, so I'm going for it. So I've got white wine vinegar, 1/3 of a cup, and then I need a tablespoon of sugar, plain ordinary white sugar. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. For me, my salt, Diamond Crystal brand, kosher salt. Is my table salt. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to stick this in the microwave to let it get for like a minute, minute and a half until it comes to a simmer, which will dissolve the sugar in the salt. So I'll do a minute and see how that goes. Meanwhile, I want to prepare the grapes, and I do that by chopping them in half, which is something I really never did when my kids were little. I don't know if that makes me a bad mom or just someone who didn't feed grapes to their babies back when you needed to chop grapes in half for babies. I think I probably just skipped it. We moved on. And they both survived the choking hazard stage. So I'm calling that a success. The thing to do with when you're pickling is catch the object, the produce that you wish to pickle before they go bad, which is, I would say, easier said than done, but it is the truth that you want stuff that is still fresh. You don't want a half-rotted item to pickle. Just put that straight in the compost. By the same token, there we go. By the same token, anything that you still could be considering eating. So I'm just giving this a swirl. Let me switch. Whoo! And by the way, hot vinegar is very hot vinegary. Okay. I'm just giving this a little stir, swirl around, and I can see right here at the bottom that it's not fully dissolved. It's almost dissolved, not fully dissolved. So I'm going to give it another 30 seconds or so in the microwave on full power. to get a little more dissolved. Well, I slice some more grapes. And hey, I'll let you watch me slice grapes over here. Yeah. So you can pickle, shoot, in the fruit realm of what else can you pickle? You can pickle stone fruits, pickling peaches, plums, pears, yeah. Cherries, blueberries. I don't think I've seen pickled strawberries, but that does not mean that they don't exist. But I know like a blueberry pickle is much better than, for example, a raspberry, which is a kind of more delicate. All right, kind of a more delicate item and less interested in staying safe. All right, so this is all dissolved. And I'm going to switch the camera and then drop in the halved grapes. And this is about a half a pound of grapes all told. And drop this in and give it a little stir. And then I'm going to set those aside. So after your grapes have sat, your halved grapes have sat in your pickling liquid of 1/3 of a cup of white wine vinegar, a tablespoon of sugar, and a half a teaspoon of salt for about 45 minutes. They are nicely pickled, because that's what we mean by quick pickled. You can transfer them to another container. And me, I like to use a wide mouth pint-sized jar or any other canning jar. But it's easier to get things in and out of a wide mouth, so I like a wide mouth. And you could drain them if you wanted to. Me, I'm just gonna kind of pour away most of the liquid. If there's a little liquid on the bottom, that's totally fine. It's not gonna make or break your pickles. You wanted to leave them in the brine for overnight, that's also fine. Okay, so these can hang out with a lid. Label the lid so you know what they are. These can hang out for a week or two in your fridge before you pop them on anything where you want a little sweet, a little tangy hit of flavor. Okay, quick pickled grapes. Now I would like to show you how to make a quick pickled carrot. Just like we did with the pickled grapes. Slide those over there. I'm gonna make a brine. This time the brine is going to be, set you over there. This time the brine is going to be a cup of rice vinegar. And that is pure rice vinegar, not seasoned sushi vinegar. Seasoned sushi vinegar has sugar and salt in it and is good for mixing up with hot cooked rice to make sushi rice, hot cooked short grain rice to make sushi rice. So about a cup of rice vinegar. And again, don't have rice vinegar, you could use white vinegar or apple cider vinegar or champagne vinegar. I mean, there's plenty of vinegars you could use. You'll need 1/3 of a cup of sugar. And Robert, do you need to go out right now, or could we wait just a moment? No. Maybe Vincent can't wait. But 1/3 of a cup of sugar, because this is a brine. And then I'll need, again, a half a teaspoon of salt. Salt, sugar, vinegar. Half teaspoon of salt. And then for a little zing in the pickled carrot ribbons, we're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. Just to make this a little interesting. And just like I did with the grapes, I'm gonna stick it in the microwave for a minute or two until it's simmering. This one, since the smaller amount of fluid took a minute and a half, I'm gonna put this in for 2 minutes and let the barking dog inside. Excuse me. Pardon me. Oh, we're all coming in. We're just gonna have all the dogs come in. And maybe one dog goes out. Right. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, it's a live class. So while that is getting ready, I'm going to make ribbons out of the carrot. And to do that, you need a carrot and a vegetable peeler. You can use this straight up kind if you want to, or if you have the Y kind, that also works just fine. I usually like to take one end off one side and then flip it over and use that as my hard flat surface. And I did not peel these carrots before peeling these carrots because I didn't really need to. I just gave them a good scrub. But if it makes you more comfortable to peel your carrots first, go right ahead. Flip this over and do a few more until I run out of room. Okay, now I'm going to feed this to the bunny who lives in our backyard. And you can do any kind of carrot that you want. I've got some multicolored carrots here, just for interest, really for no other reason other than it looks kind of pretty. So I've got carrot ribbons from 4 carrots in here. And we're going to combine that with our brine that is currently nuking in the microwave for a little bit more. And we want to make sure that the stuff is melted. The solids are melted. Let me switch cameras. All right, got our carrot ribbons. And we'll check on our brine. Whew, again, don't take a deep breath of the hot vinegar because it'll get you. This is not quite dissolved. But I think if I keep stirring it, it will. Without looking for grains at the bottom of the thing. And I was saying something, yep, it's dissolved. A little bit of stirring. And that helps it to dissolve. All right, it's clear. Excellent. So now I'm going to grab my carrot ribbons and push them down into the brine. Grab them all out. Push them down in. So they get covered. I'm going to let this sit for another 45 minutes. And since this is kind of sticking up a little bit, I'll give it a couple stirs over that 45-minute time period so that I know that all of the parts of the carrot are going to be fully coated in the brine. Okay, so we'll be back in a minute. What else can you pickle simply, easily at home? One thing that I do a lot of, especially if I have a recipe that calls for a red onion or half a red onion, and I get a particularly large one, and so I have a lot of extra red onion, I'll slice that up thinly and I will make some quick pickled red onions. Again, salt, sugar, vinegar. Keep the vinegar until the salt and the sugar dissolve. Add it to the red onions, and I leave them in the brine and I just set them aside. And I put these on tacos. I put them on, I don't know, lots of things. If I have, pickling is a good thing to do if you have extra vegetables that are still in good shape, but you know you're not going to eat them while they're fresh. So for me, this was some yellow beets, and I steamed them a little bit to make them a bit tender and then sliced them really thinly. threw them in. I had some fresh thyme, so I threw some fresh thyme in, added a brine. Oh, they have peppercorns in there too. Just, I'm finding a recipe, throwing it in, and then I'll add this to kimchi fried rice, or add it to a rice bowl that has some rice and some protein and some cooked vegetables in it, where I need a little pop of something interesting flavor-wise. I'll throw in some pickled beets. You could pickle radishes. You could pickle fennel if you have extra fennel. You could pickle parsnips. You could pickle zucchini. You can absolutely pickle cucumbers. There's my bag. If you're buying fresh cucumbers and you're not going to eat all of the fresh cucumbers, throw them in. Oh my gosh, yes, throw them in. You want to slice off the ends, especially the blossom end. It's got enzymes in it that you may not necessarily wish to have in your pickle. It may speed up the decomposition process. But the rest of them, I slice on a bias just because. I keep a jar of pickle brine, cucumber pickle brine, in my fridge. And when I have extra cucumbers, I just throw them in, kind of stir them all up. If I'm getting really fancy, I'll take the already pickled cucumbers out first so that they go on top of the freshly pickled ones. But today I'm not getting fancy. I'm just going to stir them in and stick them back in my fridge. And that way, if we're having burgers or if I'm making a sandwich, I'll go ahead and have fresh pickles. So when you are done with your carrots and they've spent 45 minutes hanging out in this brine of rice vinegar, sugar, salt, and crushed red pepper flakes, spoon them out into a wide mouth jar, cover it, and you can discard the brine at that point, unless you want to try some other vegetable in it. A parsnip could be interesting. But store it in your fridge for 1 to 2 weeks. The official party line is up to a week, but I would keep it up for 3 weeks, no problem, because it's a pickle. What's going to happen to it? You've taken a fresh vegetable, you've put it in a brine that's going to keep it where it is. Decomposition wise, it'll be fine. So that's it. And you can also, if you've got extra cucumber pickling liquid, even if you buy a jar of pickles and you have extra cucumbers, slice them up on a bias, save the ends out. Don't pickle the ends, and pop them in there. All right, that's quick pickles. Okay, hello. My name is Kirsten. This is a bonus extra recipe video on demand for my Summertime Wellness Bowls class. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make quick pickled carrots, and quick pickled grapes. Quick pickled carrots, quick pickled grapes. And while it's on my mind, we're also going to talk about things that you can pickle. And those things are, vegetables, fruits, onions, just really, if you have any extra vegetables, like you buy a large amount, or from your CSA, you get a large amount of a vegetable and you're not going to use it up fresh, you can freeze that depending on what the vegetable is. This is a cucumber, you cannot freeze, no. But you can pickle a cucumber. So if you have cucumbers, you're not going to eat them fresh. You can pickle them, which, what the hell, I'm just going to do this. You slide, I've got over here some red onions, a thing I happily eat a pickle. I've got some beets and onions, a little beet onion mixture over here. And I just kind of keep a rotating jar of pickle. Well, you can see it's a sideways one. I keep a rotating jar of pickle brine. And honestly, I'm going to restart this video because I'm jumping right in. And I don't want to jump right in. So let's stop recording.